It's right there. Thank you. It's good. It's right there. Thank you. Cuatro gatos. Maybe only tres gatos. Cuatro gatos. Maybe only tres gatos. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Raja Janaranjana Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Raja Yasodhanandana Raja Janaranjana Raja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Raja Janaranjana Vanandana Brajajana Ratira Yamunatira Vanachatira Yamunatira Vanachatira Yamunatira Vanachatira Vadamadratira Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Braja Janaratira Vanacharya Yamunatira 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 Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parikacharya Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parikacharya Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Dvaita Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Shai Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govinda Ki Jai Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shai Makunda Radhakunda Giri Govinda Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Gaur Premanandi. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Vasudevaya. Om Namo reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 51, and this is verse number 31. Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 51, and this is verse number 31. Aikshvaka Chatrabandava Mutchakunda iti Aikshvaka Chatrabandava Yuvana Swatmaja Prabho Mutchakunda iti Prokto Vayam tu Purusha Vyagra Yuvana Swatmaja Prabho Vyakshvaka Vayam tu Purusha Vyagra Mutchakunda iti Prokto Chatrabandava Yauvanash Swatmaja Prabho Mutchakunda iti Prokto Vayam tu Purusha Vyagra Yauvanash Swatmaja Prabho Aikshvaka Chatrabandava Vayam tu Purusha Vyagra Mutchakunda iti Aikshvaka Chatrabandava Yauvana Swatmaja Prabho Mutchakunda iti Prokto Yauvana Swatmaja Prabho Vyagra Aikshvaka Chatrabandava Yayam tu Purusha Vyagra Mutchakunda iti Prokto Aikshvaka Chatrabandava Yavana Swatmaja Prabho Mutchakunda iti Prokto Ayam tu Purusha Vyagra Yavana Swatmaja Prabho Aikshvaka Chatrabandava Ayam tu Purusha Vyagra Mutchakunda iti Prokto Aikshvaka Chatrabandava Yovana Swatmaja Prabho Mutchakunda iti Prokto Vayam we Yovana Swatmaja Prabho. On the other hand, Purusha word Vayam we Vyagra to O tiger. On the other hand, Aikshvaka among men, descendants Vyagra, of Ishvaku, O tiger, Shatra Aikshvaka, Bandavaha, descendants of Ishvaku, members, Mutchakunda of Kshatriyas, Bandavaha, thus, family members, Muchakundaha, Yovanasva, Muchakunda, of Yovanashva, thus, Proktaha, Mandata, the son of Yovanashva, Yovanasva, of Yovanashva, the son, Mandata, the son of Yuvanashva. O Lord. Translation. The son. As for ourselves, O tiger among Lord, men, we belong to a family of fallen Kshatriyas, descendants of King As for ourselves, O tiger among men, is Muchakunda, we belong to a family and of fallen Kshatriyas, of Yovanashva, of King Ikshvaku. As for ourselves, my name is Muchak. O tiger among men, we belong to a family of fallen Kshatriyas, descendants of King Ikshvaku. My name is Muchakunda, my lord, and I am the son of Yovanashva. Purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. It is common in Vedic culture that a Kshatriya will humbly introduce himself as Kshatrabandhu, a mere relative in a Kshatriya family, or in other words, a fallen Kshatriya. In ancient Vedic culture, to claim a particular status on the basis of one's family relations was itself indicative of a fallen position. Kshatriyas and Brahmanas should be given status according to their merit, by their qualities of work and character. When the caste system in India became degraded, people proudly claimed to be relatives of Kshatriyas and Brahmanas, though in the past such a claim, unaccompanied by tangible qualifications, indicated a fallen position. I'm also going to read the tikas of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sanat Goswami. Jiva Goswami's tika is the same as Sanat Goswami's practically. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, though he had indicated his own position, he noted Krishna's silence. Therefore, he decided to introduce himself, noting his own good qualifications. By saying he was a low-class Kshatriya, he intended to show his humility and thus his good quality. Sanat Goswami writes, what is the ability of a fallen soul to inquire about the birth of an exalted person? And how can this be told to a fallen person? Therefore, in he's speaking, this tika is in the words or the mind of Muchakunda. Therefore, I should tell him about my birth and history in order to surrender to him. He then tells about himself. Muchakunda acts in this way as part of Krishna's human pastimes. Thinking himself fallen, he uses the word to, but, to indicate that speaking of himself is a different topic. I belong to the family of Ishvaku. He calls himself a fallen Kshatriya, Kshatrabandhava, out of humility. Yuvanashva's son was Mandata. Muchakunda does not utter his father's name out of respect. Muchakunda was his son. O tiger among men, though I am the best of men, I descend from Ikshvaku. You are the most excellent. O Lord, with special powers, Prabho. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganan Ganan Shalakaya Shakshu Umnignan Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminitharamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Bacharni Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Praschachadeshtarni Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanavyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. There are a lot of different points being made by the different commentaries. On the surface of this, it's interesting because Muchukunda, in the previous verse, was asking all sorts of questions of Krishna, and actually asking who he was. O best, the previous verse, O best among men, if you like, please truly describe your birth, activities, and lineage to us who are eager to hear. So he's asking, who are you? Because as it was described previously by Urmila in her class, his feet were touching the ground. He wasn't appearing to be a demigod, even though he was very opulent, 4 arms. So he was, Muchukunda was very confused about who he might be. Now this verse, Muchukunda pivots, and he starts speaking about himself, and it's implied by both Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Jiva Goswami that he noted that Krishna was silent. In other words, Krishna didn't answer the questions. So he knew that because Krishna was whoever this was, because he apparently didn't know who he was, but he, of course, does in one sense because he's a devotee. He pivots and begins to speak about himself. He begins to speak about himself because an inferior will speak about oneself before asking the superior person about themselves. So it seems that this humility is being played out here. Therefore, he decided to introduce himself, noting his own good qualifications. His own good qualifications, this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. But those own good qualifications, as of being in the line of King Ikshvaku, who is a descendant of the sun god, I mean, this is a very exalted family. He still says that he is Kshatriya Bandhava, which means that I'm a fallen Kshatriya. He's not puffed up. He's not arrogant. In the purport itself, it speaks about the fact that in the times of the Vedic times, no Kshatriya or Brahmana would speak about their good qualities, but rather they would always take the humble point of view, and how in modern times that the caste system in India has become so degraded and vitiated, made weak, that persons claim to be a Brahmana or a Kshatriya when they don't have the qualities of Brahmana or Kshatriya. And it's qualities that make a person either whatever they are, a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. And we see that actually Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the famous verse 4:13, Chaturvarnam maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram apimam vidya akartaram avyayam. According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Krishna makes the point, I'm not part of this system, but the system is there, this varnashram system, or this is actually is just the varna part of the varnashram. This is the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Brahmanas are predominated by goodness, and Kshatriyas by passion, and Vaishyas by passion mixed with ignorance, and of course Shudras by ignorance. So what are the qualities of a Brahmana? What are the qualities of a Kshatriya? That also is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, verse number 42. Shamo damas tapashocham shantir arjavam evacha jnanam vigyanam astikyam brahma karma swabhavajam. This is for the Brahmanas: peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. And it should be noted that if one is a Vaishnava, one has the qualities of a Brahmana. Now, that is something we should be striving for. We should strive for these qualities: peacefulness and self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. Now, the Kshatriyas also have qualities. Soryam tejo dratir dakshyam yude chap yap palayanam danam ishvara bhavascha shatram karma swabhavajam. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Now, these are also very wonderful qualities. And these wonderful qualities are exhibited in persons who are actually qualified to have these, who are actually qualified. It's just not something you can just name. In other words, it says in the verse 13 of the 4th chapter, guna karma vibhagashaha. Guna of quality, karma of work, vibhagashaha in terms of division. So if one has guna and karma of these qualities, then one is actually in that position. So in this verse, Muchakunda wants to have a relationship with this person he doesn't know. And he's asked who he was, but when seeing that Krishna is not answering, he knows that, yes, this superior person wants to know about me first. So he's going to reveal himself to Krishna, who's in a four-arm form here. And he's going to reveal himself as a fallen Kshatriya, but a fallen Kshatriya from the Ishvaku clan, which means this is a very exalted family. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti, he keys in on the fact that he says this is a low-class Kshatriya, and therefore he's showing humility. Whereas Sanatana Goswami, he keys in on the fact that he is from a very exalted family. He called himself a fallen Kshatriya out of humility, but he's from a very exalted family, and therefore he has the good qualities that make him worthy of being in relationship with Krishna. In other words, he says, what is the ability of a fallen person to inquire about the birth of an exalted person, and how can this be told to a fallen person? In other words, I'm qualified from the Ishvaku dynasty, but I am also humble, saying I'm not actually truly a Brahmana. This is the proper position that one should take. First of all, that one should be qualified somehow or other to have a relationship with the Lord. But at the same time, one is very humble and saying, certainly I'm not qualified. But still, one has to have a relationship with the Lord, and one's relationship with the Lord is only opened up when one has the adhikar, or the qualification to do so. So in this verse, this is being teased out, that this mood of humility has to be there, that, oh, I'm not qualified. But in actuality, somehow or other, we have to qualify ourselves. We don't qualify ourselves by what we do. We qualify ourselves by how we open ourselves up to Krishna. He's opening himself up to the Supreme Lord here. He's not demanding that he see the Supreme Lord. He first made a request. You know, and when we learn grammar, we learn that requests and demands are they're similar. You say please with a request, and in a demand you don't say the please. So the fact is he's requesting, but it's still, trying to get something from somebody because you're asking for it, rather than being a certain way and invoking that mercy from the other person, not even asking. So he's asking in a mood of not asking, which is good. And that's why how we chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In humility, if we ask for service to the Lord, we're asking, and we're also showing that we have qualification to be to actually take up the actual process of devotion. Prabhupada speaks about this position in a class he gave in Vrindavan, actually. And this class was given on March 14th, and it's not on a verse, it's just a talk he was having. He actually starts this class by quoting a verse from Bhagavad Gita, which is a very important verse, which is verse 128. Not Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, excuse me. 128. Dharma swanushtita pumsam vishvakshena katasuya notpada yadi ratrim shrama eva hi kevalam. The occupational duties of a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. So, this Varnashram system, which places people into different dharma or occupations, is only valuable in the sense that it allows one to become attracted to the messages of the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures which glorify the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, shrama hi heva kevalam. So to be called a brahmana or a kshatriya or having some kind of high-class position and not having it means that you may be working, in a sense, like a brahmana or a kshatriya, but it's useless labor unless one's becoming a devotee, unless one's developing the qualities of a devotee. And these qualities of a devotee are the qualities that invite the Lord to actually come to us. We really cannot demand to come to him. We have to invite him to come to us. And here Prabhupada goes on to speak. So why this love is not invoked or awakened in us? Because we are covered by this material energy and we have become conditioned by material energy. Therefore, to purify ourselves, we require a certain process. That process is called Varnashram. Varna means 4 divisions of the society: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And this Varnashram is created by Krishna so that one day one may become devotee of Krishna. The whole project is, the Vedic project is, Vedic civilization, Vedaischa saveraham eva Vedyam. That is verse number 15 of the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. By all the Vedas I am to be known. We're to know Krishna by the Vedas, not so many other things. There are so many other things we can know, but we're to know Krishna. That's ultimate. Vedic civilization means that to understand Krishna. That is Vedic civilization. Vedanta vid, Vedanta krid chaham. So the Vedantist means to understand Krishna. Veda means knowledge, and Anta means the last. That Krishna explains, Vedanta explains, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanamam mam prapadyate. That's the verse in 7th chapter, 19th verse, which says, after many, many births, one may, I'll read it here. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So it's a rarity that one comes to the platforms of pure devotion. But it happens. It happens when we understand Krishna and how to understand Krishna, as Prabhupada is saying here. This is Vedanta. One who understands Krishna, he is Vedantist. Not the so-called Vedantists. They want to get out of Krishna. They'll never accept Krishna as the supreme. That is not Vedantist. Real Vedantist is here. Bahunam janmanam ante. Jnanavam means one who has actual knowledge. Jnanavam. So real knowledge is to understand Krishna. Vedaischa saveraham eva veja. This is knowledge. So this knowledge we get not by something we do ourselves. Of course, it's something we do ourselves in a sense. We chant, we hear from the Vedic literatures, we associate with devotees, we associate with advanced devotees. We try to live in a sacred place. So we do things. But we know that these things are really the preparation of ourselves to become receptacles of Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy is always there, just as the sunshine is always there. But you have to go out into the sun. When the sun's not up at night, you can't demand that the sun come. The sun has to be up during the day. And then, when it's up during the day, the sun is out there giving its mercy to everyone in the form of the rays of the sun. But if one stays inside under a cover, then one doesn't get that. And that's the cover of Maya, if we stay under the cover of Maya. But we come out of the cover of Maya. How? In this age, it's done by chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that's how we come out of the covering of Maya and be able to receive Krishna's mercy. It is a matter of receiving his mercy, not a matter of us taking his mercy. We can't grab it. The more we try to grab it by becoming really austere or really smart or whatever we try to become, we can't ever get Krishna. We get something close to Krishna maybe, or a little glimpse maybe, but we don't get full mercy. That's because his mercy is given freely to those who become his devotee. What does Krishna say in the 4th chapter to Arjuna? He says, because you're a devotee, my friend, and a devotee, I will impart this knowledge unto you. So we have examples, great examples of those devotees who are friends of Krishna, who are close to Krishna, and how they relate to Krishna. I mean, there's examples in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we have examples, of course, of great souls like Srila Prabhupada, who we see have a relationship with Krishna. But it's not that Prabhupada demands anything from Krishna. He just begs Krishna to empower him or do whatever he can do to serve him. Like he says when he comes to America, why have you brought me to this horrible place? But there must be some reason for that. So please give me the words and the ability to relate your message to them who are so covered by ignorance. So this would be our prayer. Prabhupada also speaks in a class about that. In this class, it's very interesting what he says, because this, I almost could say this is almost a sum and substance of how we should be approaching Krishna. This class is from October 20th, 1972, in Vrindavan. It is first canto, second chapter, verse number 9. These classes are really excellent classes. I mean, all Prabhupada's classes are excellent, but this is a class that occurred during the time Prabhupada was giving his Nectar of Devotion classes, and these classes were given at the Radha Damodar Temple in 1972. He would give the Bhagavatam class in the morning, and then he'd give the Nectar of Devotion class in the evening. And these set of classes at Kartik in 1972 are classics, because somehow or other all the elements fell together just perfectly. And they're really wonderful to listen to, because you can hear the parrots and sounds of Vrindavan in the classes. And so here Prabhupada speaks. Nobody knows who is Brahmana or who is Shudra, because the quality is the same now. Just eating, sleeping, mating, animal quality. So he said, in this modern age, no one knows who's a Brahmana, who's a Shudra, because everybody's the same. And the Brahmana is not acting like a Brahmana, and the Shudra might be acting as a Shudra, but may even be acting lower than a Shudra. But everybody's just eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And Prabhupada said, so there's only animal qualities, no exalted qualities. You can become a Brahmana by a sacred thread. Just go to the store, buy a sacred thread, and then you're a Brahmana. I mean, who else, how will they know? Did you ever get the mantra? Do you chant the mantra? Do you act as a Brahmana? That is a different thing. But there are Brahmanas and Brahminical qualifications. That is real Brahmana. So even the Varnashram is lacking in this age. What to speak of other dharmas? So Prabhupada is saying, there is no Varnashram in this age. And in fact, there's pretty much no dharma at all. It's all V-dharma, bad dharma. It's all out of whack. Prabhupada in one other class said that the Varnashram system in India now is topsy-turvy. Topsy-turvy meaning it's become the, quote, caste system and no longer actually reflects the Bhagavad Gita version, guna karma svabhavacha, that it has to be based upon qualities and work. And now it's just like buy a thread or dress up in a military uniform and you're a Brahmana or a Kshatriya. So he says that in this age, Varnashram is lacking. And that's why Prabhupada, when he came to America, he didn't speak about Varnashram very much in the beginning. And even throughout his preaching around the world, although he spoke strongly about the necessity of Varnashram, his real push was to get everyone to chant the holy name and to take up the Yuga Dharma, which was Sankirtan. Because that can be done by everyone, no matter who they are and in what position they're at, even though they can't take up Varnashram. Today in America, how would you do that? And around the world, how would it be done? Because it's so ingrained that everybody can just flow and do anything they want, and there's no idea of sort of a criteria, set criteria for certain behaviors in this world that's been set up by God. You don't acknowledge there's God. How can you even acknowledge that there's some kind of social scheme that's set up by Him for the advancement of human society? So that's not happening. So what will work? So Prabhupada says, therefore, Shastra enjoins, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, Kalo nasteva, 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 gachiranyata. That in this age, chant the holy name of the Lord, chant the holy name of the Lord, chant the holy name of the Lord. There's no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. You cannot execute any severe type of religious principles. Simply to take up this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, that this is all victory to the Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated over so many lives of conditioning. This is what has to happen. This clearing the heart of all this conditioning it puts us in a position where we can be like Muchukunda, who facing the Lord can say, my Lord, here I am. Here I am. This is what I am. Please reveal yourself to me. What on your terms, not my terms. So Prabhupada goes on to say, you'll come out triumphant, but actually, on principle, Dharma means gradually step forward for liberation. Dharmasya hyapavargasya nan anarta artaya. And this is verse 129, which states, all occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational duty should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. And then Prabhupada writes in the purport, the general tendency of any ordinary man in any part of the world is to gain some material profit in exchange for religious or any other occupational service. And he goes on to say that even the Vedas say that. But Prabhupada goes on to say that sense gratification is the general way for all sorts of fully occupied men. But in the statement of Sutta Goswami, as per the verdict of Srimad Bhagavatam, this is nullified by the present shloka. One should not engage himself in any occupational service for material gain only, nor should material gain be utilized for sense gratification. So the point being is this. Sometimes people will think, in a very neophyte stage, that spiritual life means all or nothing. Oh, I'm engaged in material life. I've got so many material attachments. I have so many desires in this material world. So I can't take up spiritual life because I'm not pure. I'm not. I cannot possibly come to a platform like that. But here it's stating that our occupational duties and our everyday material life can be spiritualized through the proper channels. And in this age, the proper channel is Harinam Sankirtan, which means that we all need to chant with sincerity. Japa, Kirtan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then, by putting Krishna in the center, by being able to pray to Krishna each day. Actually, we should see this Maha Mantra as a prayer. A prayer that, and it is, Prabhupada would say, oh Krishna, oh energy of the Lord, oh Krishna, oh Radha, please engage me in your service. It's a prayer. And a prayer is throwing out words to the Lord and hoping and praying that the Lord reciprocates. And the Lord does, to the degree that we surrender. That also is stated to the degree in 4:11, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So what we need to do is understand that we want to surrender completely. But that may not be possible at first because of our material desires. But because we're chanting, even with akama savakamo va moksha kama ardayarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param, whether one is full of desires, has no desires, or it desires liberation, one should approach Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is the process in this age, so that we can actually come to a point when there's going to be a time, like Muchakunda, when you have Krishna right before you, and you inquire, oh Lord, here I am. This is what I am. This is my background. I'm not qualified. But my qualification is that I'm open to hearing from you and being your servant. And then Krishna, seeing that, he then grants us that connection. And once that connection is made, at whatever level we're on, neophyte. A neophyte can be very advanced as a neophyte if he can make that connection, if she can make that connection. And then as we advance, we may have more and more adhikar to actually have the whole world of Vrindavan open up to us, where we can actually follow one of the denizens of Vrindavan and understand what our true nature is and what our service is. That takes time. But in the meantime, we follow Guru, we follow the Shastra, and we know that by Krishna's grace, that we will one day have a darshan of him, where he sees us, and by his grace, we see him. Hare Krishna. 1-2-10. And on request, 1-2-10 is, life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of our works. We shouldn't have any other goal. Healthy life, a healthy Krishna-conscious life, and inquiring about the absolute truth, and there's no other goal in our life. Hare Krishna. Okay. we greet the deities. Today they in the mind. Today's an example where we have to beg the Lord for vision.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvanta Maravindanalaya Taksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Lasyan Vipan Vikayanti Giram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
I'll sing this one, it's easier to sing. This is page 39. Jeev jago, Gaura Chandra bole. Jeev jago, Gaura Chandra bole. Kota nidra jao maya, pishachira kole. Samsara bitare,
Vajipo boliyo eshe, samsara vitore.
Buliaro hile tumi, avidyara bare.
Buliaro hile tumi, avidyara bare.
Tomare loite ami, hoinu avatara.
Tomara loite ami, ori avatar.
Ami bina bandhu ara, ke ache tomara. Ene che ashaudi maya, nashibara la.